This is Anna Laybourne with Design Workshop, and this is a recording of the Tourism Strategic Plan public forum that was held on September 6th. I'll start by reading the introductory comments presented by Councillor Susan O'Leary at the public forum. Welcome. We're here tonight to talk about tourism economic development and the opportunity we have to grow. It is that improves our community and benefits citizens and local businesses. Tourism has been going on here for some time, but the county has not yet harnessed its economic impact to address long-standing citizen concerns. Concerns like improving and increasing retail, restaurants, lodging, and entertainment, eliminating commercial blight in our downtowns, and diversifying and growing our tax base. The County Council recognized the competitive advantages we have to be successful in this effort. This year, the County Council made Build a Local Tourism Economy a strategic priority for the county and commissioned a long-range plan that is intended to build this economy in a way that best benefits our community. The last time we did a long-range planning was for the revitalization of the White Rock downtown area. That plan has driven over $20 million in investment over the past 10 years, with decisions that have provided a lot of benefit to everyone in our county. Tonight we meet to share information with you about the county's tourism economy and introduce you to the county's tourism economic development planning process. Most importantly, we're here tonight to get your feedback. Your input will help to guide the planning process as this plan is developed in the coming months. The comprehensive plan for Los Alamos County was developed in 2016. It was created through a public process, and this statement, its intended purpose is to be an aspirational statement for our county of what we would like to be in the future. Highlighted in this aspect that relates back to our tourism planning effort is 1, maintaining small town feel while increasing options for things to do, places to eat, and types of housing. And 2, tourism as a driver to growing and diversifying our economy and facilitating increased options. Part of the comprehensive planning process included a number of public input sessions and statistically valid surveys. Residents were asked a number of questions about tourism's economic development. One question asked about general support for tourism economic development. 85% of survey respondents supported increased tourism as a driver of economic development. There's also strong agreement that our current attractions, national parks, museums, outdoor activities, should be promoted for tourism. Look at all of the tourism-related activities we already have to support our efforts to increase our tourism economy. The comprehensive plan surveys demonstrated strong citizen support for the county to capitalize on our gateway community status to 3 national parks and to leverage tourism economic development to attract new businesses and revitalize our Los Alamos and White Rock downtowns. Our local government already makes important contributions to our tourism economy by funding the Bandelier Shuttle, 2 visitor centers, and dedicated marketing programs. The county works with a number of partners that include MPS, Bradbury Museum, Historical Society, Nature Center, the LACD, CDC, the Main Street Futures Group, the New Mexico State Tourism Department, and other organizations that provide services to tourists and tell the story of our history. These partnerships are very important to achieving our goals. The county's role is to provide infrastructure that supports the development of a private sector that engages in the day-to-day work of service delivery to tourists. The county's infrastructure investment is important to facilitate the flow of visitors and commerce such that it benefits citizens and local businesses. With the creation of the MPHNP in 2015 and its NPS Visitor Center located in the heart of Los Alamos downtown area, things have changed for us. We have been discovered. And suddenly the same space that residents used to live and recreate and do our business is also shared with a national park that inevitably will draw a large number of visitors. We expect this park to be a popular destination, and we celebrate that. It's a wonderful opportunity to share our history and achievements with the world. It will bring change to our community in the coming years. As more people visit our community, increasing volume will impact our community. With opportunity comes challenges. We recognize the fact and acknowledge that we are at a crossroads. We will move forward in the coming years to manage our tourism economy will determine the extent to which tourism economic development benefits our community and minimizes challenges. A good way to summarize is to ask, how do we create a hospitality infrastructure with tourist amenities that also improve our overall community quality? To create this plan, the county has partnered with Design Workshop, a firm that has helped many other communities develop a plan to grow their tourism economies in ways that make sense for their unique communities. Becky Zimmerman and Anna Laybourne are going to take over this meeting now. They have a useful and fun way to record your input and make sure that it's incorporated into our planning process. Becky Zimmerman is the president of Design Workshop, an international firm providing tourism planning, strategic services, land planning, and landscape architecture. Design Workshop, founded in 1969, has been involved with community planning and design for mountain towns around the world. Becky has devoted her career to solving complex issues in the areas of community planning, market and economics, and resorts and tourism. She's recognized for her work in leading communities, companies and organizations in strategic and business planning, market definition and strategy, development entitlements, real estate economics, facilitation, and advisory services. I'll turn it over now to Becky.
Thank you so much for participating in the tourism strategic plan process. We really appreciate the time that you're taking to learn about this process, as well as to provide us feedback through these questions. In this presentation, we're going to give a little bit about the project background. This slide here talks about keypad polling. That was for the people who were physically present at the September 6th meeting. For those of you taking this survey online, this will just simply be a SurveyMonkey type of questions for you to respond to. We'll be going through kind of baseline conditions, presenting some tourism ideas that we'd like to get your feedback on, and then talking about some scenarios and your thoughts about those scenarios, and then we'll let you know what's going to happen next. The Tourism Strategic Plan looks at needs and assesses those and identifies what's here, what's offered, what's working well, what's not, where are the gaps as related to visitor services and facilities and attractions and events and infrastructure. We have several opportunities in this process to get public input, partly for information and part of it for feedback. And the Tourism Strategic Plan will ultimately make recommendations at several levels. One is really at a strategic level. What is that direction, that future direction look like? And what are those specific actions and how much do they cost and over what period of time? And this is a roadmap for the next 10 years, starting today. That's why this says 0, some 0 to 10 years. And that's really not easy because the world in which we live is changing rapidly. And we think about how do we project that 10 years out and how do we anticipate what will happen? I mean, just look at what's happening with the change in technology of automobiles and the development over time of things like self-driving cars and what impact might that have on alleviating parking. And so we're going to do the best we can to think about what the future will look like and make sure that this tourism strategic plan provides that roadmap, not just for now, but for the future. The schedule for this process, we started back in the middle of May, kicking off with a tourism work group, and I'll talk about that group in a minute, but this is really kind of the beginning of it was orientation, kind of getting us up to speed, if you will. And then during the summer, we collected information. We asked the county and a lot of other entities to give us reports, give us studies, give us data that they had, and to consider us kind of a sponge for information, because we really want to understand the current situation to be able to make really relevant recommendations on moving forward. We're now at this point of a situational assessment. And then this is kind of where we are at the moment with getting some public feedback on these scenarios and looking at the situation analysis and what alternative futures might look like. From there, we'll start kind of writing the plan, and we'll be coming back to the public, both in person and online, to get feedback on prioritization. So of these things that would need to happen in the future, what's really important, and what order of importance might that need to occur? And then we'll be presenting to council and ultimately have the plan adopted by council. So the tourism work group, back in May, after soliciting from the community at large, businesses, attractions, local organizations, the county council appointed 20 members to the tourism work group. And the tourism work group serves as an advisory body. So they're giving us information, they're giving us advice, they're providing input and feedback. So they were helpful in some of the baseline information. And then, something that they did a month ago for us was take a look at where we were headed with the presentation for tonight. So if you heard something ring in the background, I apologize about that. It made me pause for a minute, but hopefully we still have your attention. But we're meeting a total of 8 times with the tourism work group, and we really appreciate the time and effort that they're spending in this process. In June, we had a series of focus group meetings. So we invited about 80 people to participate in one of 4 topics. And those topics included visitor services and downtown vitality, events and cultural attractions, recreation activities, and then we also met with the Economic Vitality Action Team. And we learned a lot. So we have, we certainly saw, and you already know this, that there's really amazing ingredients for tourism. There's things here that are fascinating, are beautiful, are informational, that people are certainly intrigued with. A common theme that came across, though, with the input as well is the lack of lodging. And that lack of lodging has a really big impact on the ability to attract visitors who would stay here for multiple days. And then we also learned about some tourism services and facilities deficiencies that also impact residents. And an example that came up with that is restaurants and kind of the shorter hours that some of the restaurants operate. And it's because they don't have enough people to support their business. But that has an impact both for residents and visitors. So now I'm going to pause and let you answer the first set of survey questions. And after that, there's a second part of this presentation that you can go to. These survey questions, the first few in this group were really meant for the people that were in the meeting that had keypads that were voting with those. It's a technology that we wanted folks to be comfortable with. So the first set of questions were really geared towards getting them comfortable with the technology, but we ask that you please answer those questions as well. And then there's a few questions in here that just help us learn more about you. So thank you, and we'll catch up here in the second part of this in just a moment.